Well, I wanted to go through. I've told this to you, but this is my story about how I arrived in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I do this justice. I don't. Oh, man, I hope I don't mess my words up here.
You've got this.
I've got this. All right. So, leading up to coming to Austria, obviously came down to the relationship. So I met Maria in Cambodia. So I was, for anyone that doesn't know, I'd left New Zealand when I was 21, and I went on an overseas adventure, basically one-way flight to Thailand, where I started my travels with my friend. We traveled for about a month together, and then he went back home. Then I met Maria in Cambodia, and
It was love.
Yeah, well, not really, actually. We didn't really click that well. We were just good mates, kind of like, yeah. Just you just meet people when you're traveling, and she was just one of those people that you meet, kind of.
Right.
And then she was with her friend, and her friend also left, just like mine did. She went back to Austria. So it was just Maria was by herself, and I was by myself. I was on my way to Vietnam a few days after we met,
Mm-hmm.
and I flicked her a message, and I said, hey, well, you're traveling alone. I'm traveling alone. You don't really have a plan. Why don't we do a bit of traveling together in Vietnam?
Why don't we tee this up?
Yeah, and so that worked out. She said, yeah, let's give it a crack. And she came all the way to Vietnam to see me and travel together and whatnot. And there's a bit of a story there, which I don't want to get into, but we ended up traveling through Vietnam, and it was absolutely incredible. It was by far one of the most memorable experiences of my life. And I always tell everyone, if you haven't been to Vietnam, give it a shot, I reckon. If you like, it's warm weather, very cheap, and beaches. I find it a very, very good young person place to go to.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so we'd split ways at the end of Vietnam after we were together, and it was a sad day, as it always is. But I strangely thought I'm gonna see her again. Like, I was quite convinced that I'm gonna make something happen to be with her again.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I don't know.
Because you wanted it.
I was a bit obsessed with her. Nah,
Ooh.
which is dangerous.
Stalker.
And so a week goes by. I ended up in Thailand with another mate of mine, and then she goes home about a week before I came to Austria. So she was in Austria for a week, and then I arrived. And this is where it gets crazy. So I said to her, I was like, hey, I'm going to book a flight and come and see you in Austria. Is that okay? Are you right with that? Can I stay in your house with your family? And she was like, yeah, well, it's a bit strange, but let's do it. Like, yeah, I want to see you too. And she was motivated, and I was motivated. And then so I get on this flight from Bangkok to Vienna, which is the capital of Austria. But she doesn't live in Vienna. She lives in Salzburg. So you got to catch about a 3.5 or 3 hour train, depending on what train you catch, from Vienna to Salzburg. And that's exactly what I did. And I had help from an Austrian guy that I sort of made friends with on the flight. I was like, hey, I'm trying to go to Salzburg. Can you help me out? Because I couldn't really read much. And it's hard for a newbie, like a foreigner.
Especially to negotiate some of the stuff there.
Yeah.
You're looking at everything that just makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Like, I stepped foot and I was like, mate, the advertising, I can't understand a word. And that's when you know you're in a foreign. Like, that's sort of, it clicks a bit there, eh? Like, but anyway, so I ended up on the train, and I was going to Salzburg, and I missed the stop. I don't know how, just being an idiot. I mean, I was I don't know, lacking sleep or something. The train station the train stopped at the train station which I was meant to get off, and I just didn't press the button to open the door. So anyway, kept going to the next station, and that's where Maria's friend was going to pick me up. That was what we planned. Maria was at work, so I was relying on her friend to pick me up, which is all it's all very new and strange. Like, I'm meeting all these people that I've never even seen or met before, and I'm relying on them to sort of like settle me in here. Anyway, so Bianca, Maria's friend, picked me up. Amazing, lovely girl, and it was weird. I sort of was waiting outside the train station, and I saw her coming, and I'd seen her profile picture on Facebook before, because I wanted to know.
Just like looking around, who is this person? Some 40-year-old dude comes over. Jonny, Come with me.
So I jump in a car and then we start driving towards Maria's house. And at this so Maria's still at work, and she's going to be at work until sort of 4:00 in the afternoon. And so, but that's fine. I'm gonna Strasvalchen, where the house is. It's like quite a farm style house, very old.
Getting ready to meet the folks.
Yeah, right. So that's a big moment. I don't know why, but I was strangely calm. I was like, for me, like, so I'm a New Zealand boy. Just I've had almost over half a year, much more than half a year, just traveling through Asia, which does sort of build the confidence with these like sort of new experiences, because I was
new environments.
I was exposed to it all the time. Yeah, but thinking back to me, just a New Zealand boy, doesn't understand any German, and just sort of showing up at a farmhouse in Austria where they don't speak German, they speak dialect, and there's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's lower, it's faster,
and it doesn't even really matter, because how much German did you speak when you
yeah,
turned up?
It wouldn't matter. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Anyway, so we get closer, and Bianca's like, we're nearly there. Are you getting nervous? And then it sort of struck me a bit. I was like, oh, wow, this is actually
puffing your chest out.
I was like, oh.
Big dog's in town. I'm going to show Pups who's boss.
Not at all, mate. Yeah, but anyway, so go up to the door, standing next to Bianca, and Bianca knocks on the door. We ring the doorbell or whatever. And then the door opens, and the dog stands there, and Maria's mum's standing there, and I'm like, hello. I just walk in, and I just give her a hug straight away. I'm like, hi, I'm Jonny. I'm still wearing my big rucksack, my big bag, travel bag, and I had long hair. I hadn't cut my hair because who cuts their hair when they're on holiday?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I had long, sort of, I wouldn't say dirty hair, but I needed a shower kind of. And I walk in, I'm like, hello, and I just give her a hug, and then she's like, hi, and then she's like, do you want slippers? And I'm like, well, this is luxury. I've never been off.
I've come to a spa. Hey,
what is this?
I'm going to stick around here for a little bit longer.
I'm like, okay,
what's on the menu?
So I put these slippers on, and I walk into the kitchen, and I walk in, and I'm sort of I approach a table with an older guy and a younger girl, which looked like Maria's sister, they looked similar, and that was it. And I walked in, and I thought, well, that must be Maria's dad, even though he is a bit older. I just don't know why I didn't click that her Olpa was living there. So I walk in, and I shake his hand, and he doesn't understand a word of English, and it just was a strange interaction, just to like
it's
super just shook his hand, and I think he must have said something to me, but I didn't respond.
Encountered a foreigner
no
from that far away.
100%. And the funny thing is, side story, a few days later he comes into the kitchen with a big globe, and he starts spinning it, and he's like, where's New Zealand? And they obviously not in English, but they start discussing where New Zealand is, and he points at it, and he's like, oh. And then he's like, and obviously where Austria is, and for him, he was like asking all these questions. What do they do in New Zealand? He had no clue what New Zealand was, where it was, what the people are like. So anyway, I sit down, and just sort of half trash German, trash English, just small talk, kind of trying to make things happen, and Maria's mum puts a
get the wheels moving.
Yeah. I was just a positive vibe. I was smiling all the time. I was just trying to give off. You can't speak much, but you can still portray that you're happy to be there and
your
whatnot.
Presence. Exactly.
She puts a steak, nice tasty steak with some pasta on my table, and I'm like, oh, all right.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so I start
thanks, Mum.
Chomping that. And then Maria's dad comes in, and he opens the door, and he goes, Servus. Oh, what? Like, who's this guy sitting at the table? For people that don't know what Servus is, it's just the
friendly greeting.
G'day. Greeting. Yeah, g'day.
In Australia.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Kind of like, so he walks in, Servus, and then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I think I stand up and I go to shake his hand, and then he it takes him about 3 seconds for him to realize, well, this guy doesn't understand a word I'm saying. And then everyone sort of giggles and laughs, and I'm like, well, and then he says to them, which they translated to me, he said, yeah, well, he's got to learn German then. Like,
first interaction with the old
first
boy.
interaction. He sat down. He didn't really talk to me or didn't have anything to do with me anymore. And I sat back down, and I was just like, oh well, I'm just gonna finish my steak here. just keeping happy.
Yeah.
What can you do? You can't
do anything.
You can't do
more than
anything
that,
else. And so I had my lunch. We went for a walk, and then finally, I think I went and sat on Maria's bed for a bit and just sort of scrolled, caught up on social media and whatnot. Finally, I was sitting in the kitchen. Maria comes home. She walks in, and that moment, honestly, was one of the most memorable moments ever. Because I'd come this whole way. I'd been through what's the word?
hell of a day.
A treacherous sort of, just trying to fit into this family and meet people and try and tell them that I'm a good person and I'm here for a good reason and that I mean well for their daughter and then her daughter, and then Maria comes in and it's just crazy. Just see her and it was just awkward as well. I felt super awkward. I just gave her a hug. And then, because everyone's there's 5 people standing there watching our first meeting after 4 or 5 weeks of being apart. And but that was mad. And we sort of just starting off into Austria. I every day I'd just then get up in the morning and she would go to work again, and I think she would have 1 day off a week. So I spent the whole day at home. At the family, and I made good friends with her mum. Her mum spoke English. I started to speak a little bit of German, and we just talked about life and things. And it was so easy to be friends with her. And she slowly began to like me more and more. And I did all of the dishes every day for every meal.
It's funny. That's actually, I don't know, because you mentioned that. So when I was sorry to cut you off. When I was at Melina's mum's place, it was just a normal thing to do anyway, but okay, I can't. Every time I'd asked her if I can help in the kitchen, can I do this, because Melina was at work and I was staying there. Yeah. I was like, I'll just do the dishes. And it was she would tell Melina all the time, you'd only have to do a couple of bowls and plates. Yeah. And then when Melina comes home, because Melina would always say oh, you obviously did the dishes today. And I'm like, yeah, why is that? Oh, because mum's just oh, he did the dishes again. Yeah, how good is that? Yeah. It's oh, okay. Thanks.
For me, it was normal. There was no other choice. Yeah. I think it's just out of respect. You're not paying anything to be there, and I didn't feel like I needed to show that I
contribute.
Yeah, contribute.
Yeah, or can contribute. Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel like a piece of trash that I don't do anything.
Yeah. And it's only the little things and the simple things that make a big impression.
100%.